Welcome back, everyone, to our life study in the life movement number three of Joseph the Dreamer. This section, this episode, will be handled by our brother Gina for our discussion. Go ahead, brother.
Thank you. So right now we're in the episode number 3 of Joseph's life. And I have to say, it gets depressing even more. So he was sold, right? He was accused wrongly. And now the title of this episode is Forgotten Prisoner, right? And I want to ask help from you guys how to unearth the details of these verses, the first few verses. If you look at your Bible, verses from 1 to 4, can you help me identify the who, the what, and the where? So let's start with the who first.
So there's the cupbearer.
Cupbearer,
The baker.
the baker,
The king of
the
Egypt,
king of Egypt or Pharaoh,
Mm,
Joseph,
Joseph, yeah, and then they're in what? Which area?
in
Prison.
Prison, yeah, and particularly it's the prison of the captain, and we don't know yet if that's Potiphar or not. It's not indicated there, right? And then what's the situation?
Joseph was confined
Confined?
in prison.
Yes.
the captain of the guard appointed Joseph to be their attendant, and he served them. So he was serving the cupbearer and the baker.
Yes, exactly. So you have these two chiefs, in other version, chiefs of the Pharaoh. The cupbearer was actually the one who was responsible for making sure that what he's drinking is not poisoned. What he's drinking is acceptable to the king. And the baker, same with the food that he is eating. He has to make sure everything is well attended. But lo and behold, they're in the prison. They might have committed a crime. And the Bible was silent. This chapter was silent. No? And the drama started when, in the verse that described Pharaoh, he was what? He was furious. He was mad. So, okay, what happened there? These two high officials were sent in jail for a reason, and we don't know what it is. And Joseph, we can see God's favor in his life. He was assigned to be the caretaker of these two new prisoners, on top of the other jailmates that he has inside that. So we have these characters. We know where they are right now. And additional detail, I saw that the chapter used 3 times the word confinement. So what is the author telling us? Why is the author highlighting these words, confinement? And I do feel confined when I'm reading this story about Joseph, right? So please don't hesitate to ask me questions or to also share from time to time, right? And now we move to the next verses, 5 to 7. May I ask Dennis to read 5 and then to his right, 1 verse each, up to 7.
All right, verse 5. Both of them, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were confined in the prison, had a dream the same night. Each man's dream had its own meaning.
When Joseph came to them in the morning, he saw that they were looking depressed.
So he asked Pharaoh's officials who were with him in custody in his master's house, "Why do you look so sad today?"
They told him, "We both had dreams, but there is no one to interpret them." Joseph responded, "Don't interpretations belong to God? Tell them to me."
All right, thank you. So, is it a coincidence that the cupbearer and the baker had a dream in the same night? It's like, I was wondering. No? And then here's our main character, Joseph, who has been having dreams, who's been trying to interpret it at a young age, is now faced with 2 new prisoners who are high officials, and now they're asking, what does this mean? No? And I did a short and small research on dreams. How is it important to the Egyptians back then? Why were they so affected? Why were they sad? No? And then to the point that Joseph recognized that they were, in other versions, dejected. They're really affected by it. And then I found out that the Egyptians back then, they were serious about dreams, interpretation of dreams. That's why in Genesis also, the Egyptians, they had many magicians, priests, to really explain these dreams that they have. And is it a coincidence after learning that? No, because God was already somehow training, using Joseph to interpret it seamlessly or with confidence. And now it's an opportunity for him to talk to these two officials. How do you guys feel about that? That's me. I want to know your thoughts.
It's interesting to hear about your research on dreams, because even today there are people who try to interpret dreams, and sometimes they get it accurately, but sometimes they do not. But I've heard it referred to as dream guessing rather than actual dream interpretation. So it exists even in our time today, people who believe that our dreams hold meaning. But of course, there are prophetic dreams, but there are also dreams that simply reflect the psychological state of our minds, and being able to distinguish between the two is very important. In this particular,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that in this particular passage, Joseph was very clear that if he was going to be the one interpreting it, it would be coming from the Lord, because he said, don't interpretations belong to God. So Joseph wasn't about to guess at the meaning of the dream. He was confident that it could be interpreted by his God.
So I think there's clarity in terms of course, commenting on what Bea said, that dreams are psychological. We dream about our own experience, sometimes a traumatic experience that keeps on repeating itself in our dreams, and we call them nightmares.
Yeah.
So some people become depressed because of their dreams, because it's really, really bad. Some also believe, as Christians, we believe that dreams have messages from the Lord. That's the case in terms of biblical studies in the different characters, like of course different characters like Daniel, or in this case Joseph, and maybe other people who had these visions from the Lord. And it's something spiritual, something that is going on beyond the human mind. Sometimes people are fixated to a certain dream. Of course, some people call it vision. I have a dream that someday my country will be a better place. So that kind of vision. But of course, when we talk about dreams, this is something repeated in our minds, and sometimes it's our deepest desire. Like sometimes you like dream vacation, so you keep on dreaming of a place. And you want to go to, sana I'll go there, sana I'll go there. So it keeps on repeating in your consciousness or subconsciousness, and you keep on dreaming about it. Or maybe a childhood past that is really hard, and keep on going back. And I think we see this in movies, we see this in novels. People tell stories about their dreams, and left and right. But in this case, there's a message that is from the Lord.
Yeah. It solidifies my understanding of dreams, that is not just psychological, scientific, but it also can be used by God as a platform for Him to speak to you, to bless you, and to bless the people, strangers, right? In our story. Yeah. Let's continue. Right. So may I ask, Abby, can you read verse 9? Dennis, can you read verse 10 and then 11? Okay.
So the chief cupbearer told his dream to Pharaoh. In my dream, there was a vine in front of me.
Verse 10, on the vine there were 3 branches. As it budded, its blossoms opened and its clusters ripened into grapes.
Now Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, so I took the grapes, squeezed them into his cup, and put the cup in Pharaoh's hand.
Right. If I had that dream, I would really wonder what does this mean. Right? It somehow relates to my former job as a cupbearer. But 3 days, what's this, vine?
Yeah.
So Joseph said, those three clusters represent the days that Pharaoh will lift him up. That means lift you up from embarrassment, from your guilt, and to put you back into office. No? And then Pharaoh's cup, he will put it into his hand. So he will be reinstated again as a cupbearer. Good news, bad news.
Good
Good
news.
news.
Right? And so when the chief baker heard this, me too, me too. He was excited. No? But before we read those verses, I added another word, another what that the author used: interpretations. So if you scan the whole chapter, it used interpretations, the word interpretation or interpreted, 6 times. Okay, so confinement 3 times, interpretation 6 times. Maybe the Lord wants us to know more about those words or those areas. Okay, so let's proceed to the baker. Ahiahim, can you read all the verses, 16 to 17?
16 to 17.
Yes, please.
When the chief baker saw that the interpretation of the first dream was favorable, he said to Joseph, I also appeared in my dream, and there were 3 baskets of white bread on my head. In the top basket, there were baked goods of every kind for Pharaoh, but the birds were eating them from the basket that was on my head.
Right. And here you have the chief baker really excited, no? To hear the interpretation. It's my turn. Okay. Before Joseph said, this is its interpretation. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 more days, Pharaoh will lift up your head from you and will hang you
Oh no.
on a tree, and the birds will eat your flesh off you. Guys, how do you feel right now? If you were in the shoes of the baker, what?
For me, maybe, are you sure about it?
Yes.
Come again?
Yeah.
Can you please repeat it? How come this, my friend, you interpreted it?
Why did you
as
interpret?
Yeah.
Oh, kasi good news, bad news.
Good news, bad news. And if you were Joseph, diba? Would you share it?
Maybe
Like that?
may hesitation.
Hesitation then. And again, the Bible mutes the emotions. It's just words. And maybe Joseph said it slower than usual. Diba? Like a doctor, parang you don't want to just break out the news, the bad news, to a patient.
Can I also connect that, no, how Joseph interpreted these 2 dreams? Maybe, yeah, parang silent nga dun sa emotions, pero it's like dire-diretso siya sabi na interpretation, right? Pero I wanna connect that to verse 8 because he acknowledges the power of God, that these interpretations are from God, hindi coming from him. So for me, it shows talaga that he really had this close relationship with God. I love how he really acknowledges, the power of God. So these interpretations are not coming from me. Parang the credit is not to me, but to God. I love how he does that. Yeah.
And it's not an accident why he said that in the first place before he interpreted it. So may parang premise that this came from God, not me. I'm just walking in the Lord, right? And yes, that he was talking to the chief baker, the cupbearer, but there may be some jailmates also present who might be hearing these things. Mga chismoso. Diba? So the situation is just nerve-wracking for some, but you have to do it. You have to say it because it's from God with confidence also, right? So I added 2 more words that I found it being repeated. 3 or third. It was used 7 times in the chapter. Dream also was used 7 times in the whole chapter. At least in my version. No? So parang, God, what are you telling us, readers of this like post-Acts age we are living in? No? and I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, him, there's not one account in the Bible that focuses on dreams also. Parang the dream part, this intangible thing that we have, psychological thing that we have, is being claimed by God Himself. That's how I feel. No? Just by analyzing these small details of this chapter.
So it seems there's a direct connection to the divine. When dreams happen to a certain person or to a certain, um, in this case, the cupbearer and the baker, when you think about it, dreams are repeated and the message is quite clear in 3 days. So there's a specific number. This will happen. So there's an interpretation that it's very, very specific for the baker and the cupbearer
Yeah.
in this case. So in a sense, it's scary. Like if your dream is really being repeated, that it bothers you for quite some time.
Yes. I believe these dreams were recorded precisely because they were special kinds of dreams and intended to show God's providence despite what was happening to Joseph. And as we will see later, it's not just Joseph, it will affect the whole of Egypt and then also the family of Joseph that he left behind in Canaan. Parang dito pa lang, foreshadow na ni God na I am at work even now where you don't seem to see me. Actually, everything that's about to happen is already in my divine plan in my mind.
I feel like nasa climax na tayo. Pero nope, sabi ko, nope, preamble pa lang yan. Just getting started. I'm still training Joseph. Diba? And then you'll see it unfold along the way. Grabe. No?
Saka yung good news, bad news nga. Kasi tayo bilang Christians, sometimes we only want to hear the good news.
Yeah, there you go.
But you also have to be ready to hear the bad news.
Oo. And you won't know the response of the baker, really. Maybe he took it well. Maybe he knew that this person is a representative of the true God. Diba? Because I can say, I can easily say na that's too much. It's too much to handle. But sometimes the bad things will give us the truth, will set us free because it's the truth. But I don't wanna assume.
In addition din, no, parang as I also reflect, yung condition ni Joseph, parang medyo fresh pa, I believe, fresh pa siya dito sa prison. Parang, siguro pag ako, parang iiyak lang ako sa side, sa corner, magtatampo ako. Pero he has this still, the heart to help the other prisoners. Yung parang gano'n. So parang, wow, he really has a good heart. You know, thinking of other people. And then having that kind of, not just having that passion, pero naipakita niya through his actions. Na interpretation, no, I will not interpret it for you. Nakita mo ba yung condition ko? Nahihirapan din ako rito. And yet, he's now here interpreting and then acknowledging that these interpretations are from God. So parang it shows that his faith really is there, even in that, rock bottom.
Yeah.
And then there's a realization of Joseph, which is quite clear dito sa verse 13, 14, 15. Realization ni Joseph of his situation. Sabi nga, in 3 more days, Pharaoh will reinstate you and restore you to your office. You will put Pharaoh's cup in his hand, just as you did before when you were cupbearer. So very sure na si Joseph here. And then, but remember me when it goes well for you and show me kindness. Make mention of me to Pharaoh and bring me out of this prison. So may hope siya. Sana mapansin, acknowledge na wala akong sala. For I really was kidnapped from the land of the Hebrews, and I have done nothing wrong here for which they should put me in a dungeon.
Right.
So, na-realize niya yung sequence ng buhay niya dun sa life movement 1, life movement 2, and then ngayon 3 na. This is the hand of the Lord, and yet I have an appeal, so please remember me.
Very good. Yeah, I almost forgot to discuss that path. But thank you, Ayan. Are you a pastor? That's the beauty of doing it as a group. Because sometimes you get so invested there that you forget the other details. But that's a crucial detail, actually, right? Because you can see the human side still of Joseph. That he knows that he did nothing wrong. But why? So now I have this opportunity, this high official, maybe he's my gateway out. So remember me, right? So hold that thought also, and then it will be answered later on, I believe. Okay, so the last few verses, 20 to 23, may I ask Dennis to read the first two verses and the last two verses?
Okay, verse 20. On the third day, it was Pharaoh's birthday, so he gave a feast for all his servants. He lifted up the head of the chief cupbearer and the head of the chief baker in the midst of his servants. 21. He restored the chief cupbearer to his former position so that he placed the cup in Pharaoh's hand.
With the chief baker he impaled, just as Joseph had predicted. But the chief cupbearer did not remember Joseph. He forgot him.
Right? So the accuracy of Joseph's interpretation, it did happen. Plus the 3 days, was he informed about Pharaoh's birthday that happening soon? No? So it made it more like reasonable. At the same time, did you even know that it's gonna be his birthday? And it's a birthday. Why would Pharaoh acknowledge the cupbearer and also the baker? It should be about him in the first place. So I did the research again. So is this normal for Egyptians or pharaohs to do these kinds of things? It was. It's not just Egyptian, but it's also practiced by other empires. They treat these big gatherings as like a judicial activity slash political activity for them to affirm their authority,
To show their power.
to show their power, at the same time to restore peace and order. So something did happen. Maybe they found out that the baker tried to assassinate him, tried something to take away something from the pharaoh. No? So justice was served, the truth was lifted, and yet Joseph was not lifted. He was forgotten. Ouch. Right? So I want to highlight verse 23 actually. Why did the author describe it the opposite way? He could have just said he did not remember him, plain and simple. But he said he did not remember Joseph, but forgot him. So that made me question, did the cupbearer intentionally forget Joseph? Or was it a natural forgetfulness?
It could be human nature.
Human
Eh,
nature
As
also.
humans, when we receive something good,
We forget.
we forget.
Yeah.
We forget who gave it, or someone who treated us kindly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easily forget. But
Mm-mm.
if someone treated us badly,
Yeah.
we will not
We will
forget.
Exactly. To my point, na maybe this cupbearer is seeing a Hebrew person who is gifted with this. I don't want to share something about him first. I want to be highlighted muna. I want to savor this moment. Maybe he has that malice. Maybe, I'm not saying anything. Diba? Or natural forgetfulness. Right? So these nuances further highlights the sovereignty of God in this situation. He's not completely giving it to men, like the glory for Pharaoh, Joseph, and the cupbearer, but it's giving us a cliffhanger for the next chapter, my Lord. So when will you lift Joseph up? Yeah. So it led me now to realizing more things. No? And you can also share what you have.
Yeah.
Initially.
Well, I have in my mind that possible that this cupbearer, ang tingin niya kay Joseph, wala na akong pakinabang. Wala ka na pakinabang sa akin. So I don't possible he intentionally
Mm.
to not remember Joseph anymore. Like, what's the
Mm.
use? And then
Yes.
Joseph told him that he was captured or
Mm.
sold, din ganun. Parang he is not the yung nationality niya hindi naman sa
Mm.
Egypt talaga. So, 'di ba? Parang hindi siya ganoong ka-importante o kahalaga
Mm.
kung saan lumaki yung
Mm.
cupbearer na which is an Egyptian, maybe,
Mm.
'di ba? So, yeah, human nature, as Pastor Hem said, that uh, yung good, yung kabutihan, madaling makalimutan kapag sa atin. And then, kapag tayo ay ginawa ng masama, ang hirap alisin. So, yeah, for me, that's what I see on this verse 23, no? The cupbearer, like, parang he has no use of Joseph anymore na eh. Oo.
I have another perspective also. I believe in God's perfect timing with this thing that happened to Joseph. Because when Joseph told the cupbearer to remember him a while ago, as Rebhem mentioned, no, it was to remember the injustice that was done to him as a slave. Pero if the cupbearer brought that up to Pharaoh right now, mapapawalang sala lang si Joseph. That's it. Pero the fact that he was able to bring Joseph up to the Pharaoh only later on, when the Pharaoh himself needed someone to interpret his dream, it opened an opportunity for Joseph to be more than a free man, but somebody who really had influence and was able to interpret the dreams of Pharaoh for him. So nag-advance na ako sa next chapter. Connected kasi.
Yes, and we're really excited.
It's about right timing.
Hindi lang free man, but a rich man.
So sometimes maybe we get forgotten. Pero if we walk with the Lord, then we trust in Him.
Sometimes siguro yung kabutihan na binigay mo, hindi siya agad-agad
Babalik
nasusuklian.
sa'yo.
Yes.
You have to wait for a certain time that maybe the Lord has better and bigger blessings to you. Unlike na yung sandali mo lang matanggap, di ba?
Tama.
Yeah.
So the timing is important.
Yeah.
So part of any story, of course, in this episode in Joseph's life, the timing is important. For Joseph's perspective, nakalimutan ako. Pero from God's perspective, there's a grand plan for his life.
And it's easier for us to see the grand plan because we have the whole Bible. But Joseph doesn't see that. From being sold, abandoned, accused, now forgotten. Parang, paano na? Well, what is his state? Kasi I'm just a Hebrew, a low-class citizen, and now I'm in jail. No? I did my best. But my best wasn't good enough. Another song during his time. Doon na form yung song na yun. I'm just joking. No? So his identity, I feel like I'm lost. I would be lost if I'm like that. Parang mapapagod ako. No? So it led me now to more realizations how we can fit Joseph's story, chapter 40, into our era. No? So I realized that dreams interpretations, yes, they can be psychological, scientific, but they are areas where God can still use to evangelize, to bring blessings to someone, to bring meaning to someone's life. And it gave meaning to the cupbearer, for sure to the baker, and in the future to the Pharaoh also. Plus the jailmates of Joseph. Our decisions and actions in life are shaped by our goals and convictions too. Because you can easily just say, nah, these are my interpretations, which the cupbearer and also the baker did in the first place. But Joseph showed God's glory. No? Anything to add there?
Yeah. Addition to what I've mentioned earlier regarding the blessings, no? Yung, what if na si Joseph, he received the freedom na, diba, after, and then came the dream of the Pharaoh, no? Baka hindi na makita ng cupbearer kung nasaan siya. Kasi wala na siyang, direction sa life niya kung saan nang susunod niyang di ba? Hindi na siya pwede bumalik dun as Potiphar's, di ba? So, if we see the future, the story, no, ahead, no? Kasi, yun yung magandang blessing, yung malaking plano pala ni God, di ba? Na, in due time, I think years after, yung pala ang plano ni God sa kanya, mas malaki. Like we also see on the social media, like, di ba, there's Jesus and then there's a big stuffed toy back of him, tapos di ba, may bata, gusto niya, oo, so, ganon, di ba?
Yeah.
Oo. So, the best thing is that yung story ni Joseph, ginamit pa siya ng mas malalim o malawak ng Panginoon so that people can see how Joseph's God powerful, something like that. Na he can work things out on something in the future, something like that.
Yeah.
The faithfulness of Joseph comes in when he has this hope.
Yes.
Sana maalala ko. Sana maalala mo ko. I hope you remember me. So if that happens, di ba, that's this exit. Yun yung exit niya from prison. And of course, there's a lot of waiting. It's I think it's 2 years. 2 years of wait until we go to our
2 years, no?
Yes.
next episode.
Wow.
As we're going through this story, parang ang sarap sabihin kay God, Lord, bakit naman ganyan? Bakit ganito? Bakit ganyan? Tapos si God parang sinasabi, wait lang. Nag-unfold pa ang ating
For us kasi parang, okay na to eh. But God has something more pala. Diba? Yeah, if we only wait and see.
Patience.
May I leave everyone with like a story and also like a final statement, just connecting the words that's being repeated. So this story is actually a true story because I was fortunate to go to Jordan in 2017, and we were visiting families, refugees, and we were just listening. Most of the time was about listening to their stories, and then if you have something to say towards the end of your meeting. And it's common for them to have dreams. Like there's a light and then there's someone coming in and they don't know how to explain it. But then you have these missionaries, shorter missionaries, going in the next day, now sharing the gospel to them. And they connect the dots. You are that someone that God is saying, God is sending. This is the light for our lives. So that's a concrete example of dreams and interpretations being used by the Lord in a country where the gospel is not being showed or spread that well. And in terms of witnessing, so me and my friend in the same journey, in the same trip, we were in McDonald's. We just prayed for the food. And then after praying for the food, this teacher came close to us. How do you pray like that? With freedom, with so much casualness. And then we just explained because we have a relationship with God. He's not a far-fetched God. You can easily just say anything to Him. And right then and there, they notice even the simplest spiritual discipline that we do, praying. And we were able to share the gospel to her. And lastly, you don't call this a dream, but he had these visions, this Jordanian, he's a Muslim, or a different religious sect, part of the different religious sect. We were in an airplane, he was my seatmate. So he was sharing, I have these visions of this Virgin Mary. You call that Virgin Mary, right? Okay, yes. And then you're talking to her. All right. So I just told him, okay, we have to make sure because sometimes these visions might come from a different spirit. So we have to confirm where's the source coming from, right? And then after that, I shared why there's a superior source of strength that we have, superior pathway to the righteous path, and depend on that. You have to focus on that. So I was able to experience somehow a little interpretation for others because I'm using God's word to explain it. And now connecting the words as being repeated, relating it to the story. For me, Joseph's temporary confinement was a season of refinement leading to his vindication and God's glory. Joseph was forgotten, yet God always remembered him.